cold Midwest know it's tax time, when we, sometimes not so willingly, file our tax returns and pay any remaining taxes due. Have you ever wondered, am I doing all I can to be tax efficient? Not just when I file my tax return, but throughout the year? And not just this year, but over the long term? And would additional tax efficiencies fit with the rest of my financial game plan? For over 40 years, the planning firm here in Sioux Center has been helping households build and execute their financial game plans on all the things more important than money. I'm Tom DeYoung, president of the planning firm. Check us out on the web or social media, or schedule a complimentary Discover meeting to see how a financial game plan might benefit you. We'll help you build your financial game plan on all the things in your life more important than finances, while being a good steward of the resources God has entrusted to your care. And check out our Money Concepts Radio podcast at moneyconceptsradio.com or on your favorite podcast app, where we dive into relevant financial planning topics to bring clarity to the often confusing, ever-changing rules of the game in the financial world. Enjoy the rest of the game, and remember to spend your most valuable resources, your time and your attention, on the things in life that matter more than money. And go Defenders!
Dordt Media Network broadcast, brought to you by Cruise & Cruise PC, certified public accountants. Offices in Sioux Center and Lamars, helping you attain your financial goals is their commitment.
Today's broadcast brought to you by Snyder Insurance and Financial Group of Sioux Center, offering life, health, Medicare supplements, annuities, and more. Trusted service and exceptional products with you in mind since 1973. Today's broadcast brought to you by Joyner and Dordt Dentistry, providing implants, dentures, and dental care for your whole family in a modern and friendly atmosphere. Today's broadcast brought to you by the Van Engelen-Hoven Agency, your trusted independent insurance agency in Northwest Iowa. Contact the Van Engelen-Hoven Agency, Sioux Center Advisors, Mark Hulsoff, Lisa Dykstra, or Kyle Blankers. Today's broadcast brought to you by Sioux Concrete Construction, Rob Sioux and owner, excelling in flat work, poured walls, and decorative concrete projects, dedicated to providing customers with a good experience and quality workmanship. SiouxConcrete.com.
At Dordt, we strive to build community from before you step foot on campus to years after you graduate. We want to give Dordt students the chance to live and learn together and create meaningful, lifelong relationships that are rooted in faith. Connect to others in purposeful relationships at Dordt University.
Hey Defender Nation, my name is Darren Kaiser and I'm excited to serve as the new athletic director at Dordt University. Thank you for tuning in to the Dordt Media Network and supporting Defender Athletics. As an athletic department, we are committed to the Defender way. This means we are committed to the Great Commission, developing servant leaders, the academic development of our student athletes, and the pursuit of championships. I'm eager to join with you in supporting our athletes this year. Thank you for watching Defender Athletics on the Dordt Media Network. Go Defenders!
Good afternoon from Open Space Park in Sioux Center, Iowa, as we get set for Great Plains Athletic Conference baseball between the Dordt Defenders and the Briar Chargers. The Dordt Defenders come into today's contest coming off of a four-game set with the Concordia Bulldogs last weekend. The Defenders 17-29 overall, 6-18 in the conference, while the Briar Chargers 21-20 overall, 14-10 in the conference. They have gotten hot as of late, and they are vying for a top four finish now in the Great Plains Athletic Conference. So that is the backdrop for the Dordt Defenders. Unfortunately, over the weekend with Concordia, Dordt eliminated from playoff contention, so they are playing out these last four games for some pride. And also, they are still within striking distance of the 20-win season, standing with 17. Also could have their highest conference win total in a number of years. They are sitting at 6. Can they get to 8 or 9 or potentially 10 before the weekend is over? Remains to be seen. They'll be on the road at Forest City against Waldorf on Friday. They were originally scheduled to play this doubleheader on Thursday, but due to the wet forecast for tomorrow, elected to move the game to today. Starting off, it'll be a double header, 7 innings each. And this is not the weekend set. It'll be a midweek rules, so we are scheduled to play 7 games for the 7 innings in each game. Bennett Spronk will start on the mound for the defenders. Bennett has been 1-5 with a 6.05 earned run average, 38 innings pitched, and Rance Bryant steps in against him, and we are underway with baseball. First pitch swung on and fouled off and out of play. Strike 1, nothing, and 1 the count to Bryant. So Bryant fouls it off. Here's the pitch from Spronk, outside corner. Strike 1, nothing, and 2 the count. So Spronk working from in front early on. And Spronk, a right-hander. Felt he's had a bit of tough luck, if you will, so far this year. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And the leadoff batter for Briar Cliff has been retired. That'll bring up Trujillo. Trujillo will step in, left-handed batter. Trujillo is the third baseman. So Bryant, we put him down for a strikeout, the first of the game for Spronk. Spronk peers in. The Pella native breaking ball in for a called strike 1. Nothing, and 1 the count. So early on, Spronk has been around the strike zone. Swung on, fouled off, strike 2. Nothing, and 2 the count. Spronk is on the mound. Chisholm Demers is behind the plate. He's the catcher. Logan Templeton, Jimmy Twombly, Joey Schlesselman, and TJ Kerr third to first for the defenders. Here's the 0-2 pitch up high. Ball 1, 1-2 the count. Defensively, left to right in the outfield, Belcher, Harris, McMillan. That's Carson, Logan, and Matthew. 1-2 the count with 1 out. Here's the pitch. Dordt in their white jerseys today. Pitch is upstairs. Ball 2, 2-2 the count. Spronk seeing if Trujillo will chase one, and so far Trujillo has not. 2-2 the count. Diego Trujillo, a .360 batting average. And that pitch fouled off and out of play. And the count remains 2-2. The production crew today for the Dordt Media Network. Matt Boss is the director. And Sean Solano working the camera. Pitches outside. Ball 3. 3-2 the count. Trujillo this season, 9 walks. He's worked the count to full, 3-2. So 3-2 the count, 1 out in the inning. Bases are empty. Here's the pitch from Spronk. Up high, ball 4, and the walk is issued. So Spronk had him on the hook, and Trujillo able to wiggle off of it. And the base on balls is issued. That's the first walk given up by Spronk, and that'll bring Marquardt to the plate. Marquardt, number 6, he's the catcher. Cade, .355 batting average. This is a Briar Cliff team that has gotten better as the year has gone along. A .304 batting average as a team. Slightly open right-handed stance. Pitches down in the dirt. Demers blocks it. Ball 1. 1-0 the count with 1 out. Well, after being around the strike zone for a strikeout and then an 0-2 count with Trujillo, Spronk scuffling a bit here. See if he can work out of a little bit of a funk. Bouncing ball behind the base and trying to flip it is Twombly to Schlesselman and unable to pick it out cleanly. And actually that was Schlesselman who fielded it behind the base. So an infield single for Marquardt. The only chance for the out was the fielder's choice. It wouldn't have even, if they had no chance at the runner going to first base because of the momentum, Schlesselman was carrying towards center field. And then his only chance to get the runner was flipping it out of his glove. Didn't have time to transfer it to the bare hand. Otherwise, the runner is safe. So that'll go as a clean single, an infield single. Offering at it is Saul. So runners at first and second. And Nico Saul is the batter. First pitch, offers at it. Strike one, 0-1 the count. Swung on, ground ball, foul. Strike two, 0-2 the count. 0-2 the count to Nico Saul. Saul a .346 batting average this season. 0-2 the count with one out. I have not looked at the rest of the Great Plains Athletic Conference. I'm curious if the other games that were scheduled for tomorrow have been moved. Pitch is just outside. Ball one, 1-2 the count. We'll pull up the GPAC schedule and check on that here. So 1-2 the count. Mount Marty and Morningside, they're going to play today as well. And strike three. So the second strikeout of the day. Recorded. And that'll bring Reimer to the plate. So Saul retired for the second strikeout of the game, out number 2 of the inning. And Reimer will come to the plate. So Cam Reimer settles in. He's a .273 batter, but he's got a little pop in the bat. 7 home runs this year. First pitch is low and away, ball one. 1-0 the count. Reimer this season, 7 home runs. That second on the team to Nico Saul's 9. Here's the pitch. Inside. Ball two. 2-0 the count. So Reimer, 7 home runs, 30 RBI this season. Third on the team in RBI. Here's the pitch. That one just misses upstairs. Ball three. 3-0 the count. So 3-0 the count with 2 down. Let's see if Reimer is taking all the way here with runners on first and second. Spronk down in the count. 3-0 pitch on the way. Ball 4, and the walk is issued. So the walk surrendered. And they'll bring Newbeck to the plate. So Reimer reaches on the base on balls. The second of the inning. And Connor Newbeck will come to the plate. Newbeck, a .333 batting average. Not quite as dangerous of a hitter. He's a left-handed batter. Here's the pitch. In for a called strike one. 0-1 the count to Newbeck. 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch. And taking one off of the leg is Newbeck. So Newbeck is hit by the pitch. That'll advance everybody 90 feet. And that'll bring DeVessery to the plate. So Newbeck is hit by the pitch. And obviously, don't help yourself with walks. Now a hit batsman. That's 3 free bases surrendered in this half of the inning. And hopefully Bennett Spronk can settle down. Chisholm Demers comes out from behind the plate and trying to help Spronk regain composure here. It appears that Marquardt is running for himself, so no courtesy runner at third base. That's number 2, the catcher, Cade Marquardt. Did not see anyone come out of the dugout for him earlier in the inning. Diversey it is, at the plate. Here's the pitch. In there for a called strike one. 0-1 the count. Well, if you're Dordt now, you're just trying to get out with any more damage being done. One run across. Spronk peers in, right-handed pitcher. Here it is. Low and away. Ball 1-1 the count. Softball, there's some games being played today as well, including Dordt versus Briar over on the softball field over here at Open Space Park. Here's the pitch. Outside corner. Strike 2, 1-2 the count. So Spronk and out away from getting out of the frame. Here's the 1-2 pitch with the bases loaded. Swung on and picked up cleanly. And the side is retired. So Diversey A strikeout, third strikeout of the game, third out of the inning. The defenders get out of the frame. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, 3 left. Back with more after this.
Find furniture, mattresses, flooring, paint, and window treatments at your local Furniture Mart. They are family owned and located in downtown Sioux Center.
Today's broadcast brought to you by Ski-Bout Window and Door, your local window experts. Whether you're building or replacing, Ski-Bout Window and Door has the products, people, and knowledge to get the job done right. See Ski-Bout and see the difference. Today's broadcast brought to you by Prairie Life Chiropractic, combining skill and expertise that spans the entire chiropractic, acupuncture, and physical health spectrum. They want you to move better and live better.
Homegrown.
Community.
Family.
Innovators.
Growth.
Faith.
Legacy.
We are dedicated to egg.
Today's Dordt Media Network livestream broadcast is produced by the students of Dordt University. Thanks for watching.
Jimmy Twombly to lead things off for the defenders against the ace for Briar Cliff. That is Carter Shorg. Shorg 6-2 this season. Second on the team in innings pitched with 54 2/3. He's a third behind Nick Hayes. Hayes is 4-2. Shorg is 6-2 with a 4.28 earned run average, and he's got 45 strikeouts this season, so not quite 1 strikeout per inning. Jimmy Twombly will come to the plate. Twombly, 248 batting average, 3 homers, 15 RBI. Dordt trailing 1-0. And here's the pitch to Twombly. Swung on, ground ball, short hop by Trujillo across the diamond, and 1 pitch and 1 out. That'll bring Carson Belcher to the plate. So Belcher will step in. 257 batting average, 2 homers, 22 RBI. 1 out in the inning. So Belcher will step in. Here's the pitch. In there for a called strike 1. 0-1 the count with 1 down in the inning. And here's the 0-1 pitch from Shorg. Fouled off, and that one's going to float out of play. Left field, left side. Strike 2, 0-2 the count with 1 out of the inning. Well, you want to try and scrape things together in terms of a broadcast. Put a game at Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Got classes to work around. It's nice weather. Sounds like softball, and you reschedule it. That makes it challenging as well. This one's drifting out of play. Another foul ball. Count remains 1-2. Grateful for our student employees who do make it possible for us to broadcast these games. Swung on, fouled off, and out of play. Count remains 1-2. 1-2 the count. Game time temperatures in the 60s, maybe reaching the 70s before it's all done. Pitch is inside, and hit by the pitch is Belcher. So Belcher gets a free pass. So Belcher hit by the pitch. And for Carson Belcher this season, it's the 17th time he's been hit by a pitch. DJ Kerr will step in, number 23. He's the first baseman. So runner on first base now for the defenders. Love for Dordt to get that run back. A little bit of work to do to get that done, though. 1-0 the count. Kerr takes outside. Saul over at first base. 1-0 the count with one down. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled off. Strike one. 1-1 the count. So 1-1 the count to DJ Kerr. Kerr this season a .267 batting average. 1-1 pitch on the way from Shorg, right-hander. Throw over to first base, and they might have got him. Nope. Dives back in safely. Saul thought they had him. Quite honestly, from my vantage point, he was leaning the wrong way, but he's able to dive in and maybe caught the outside corner of the bag with his right hand as he dove back in. 1-1 the count. Here's the pitch. Swung on, sent into right field. Could be a Texas leaguer charging, and that one's going to drop in for a base hit. Right fielder throws over to second, not in time. Gets away from the shortstop, but backing up the play, the left fielder. So DJ Kerr reaches with the single. Belcher advances over to second base, and Logan Templeton will come to the plate. So a bloop single, right field side for DJ Kerr. So runners at first and second now, and one out, and Dordt now with a threat going. Logan Templeton batting with one out in the inning. Templeton, a .305 batting average, 47 hits. Swung on and fouls it off. Foul tip, strike one. 0-1 the count with one out in the inning. Opportunity here for Templeton to knock some runs in. 32 RBI this season for Templeton. 0-1 the pitch on the way. Pitch is on the outside corner. Strike one, two. 0-2 the count with one out. That one sweeps across just the outside black. 0-2 the count with one out. Well, Briarcliff has put together a nice season. Very quietly and steadily has worked their way up. Wasn't that long ago they were sub 500. Pitch skips into the catcher. Marquardt blocks it. Ball one, 1-2 the count. So 1-2 the count with one out. Runners get their lead. Second baseman trying to sneak in behind the base runner. Ground ball right side. Gobbled. No. And an error on the second baseman, Bryant. Bryant racing over. Squared it up, but unable to pick it up cleanly. So an error on the second baseman allows Templeton to reach. And Carson Belcher advances over to third base. And now you've got the bases loaded. And one out. That one had double play written on it, and Bryant, I think he was thinking that and failed to get it into the glove before he tried to transfer it, and the timing was just off, and brings Oreskes to the plate with an opportunity to do some damage. First pitch, strike one, 0-1 the count. So 0-1 the count. With one out here in the bottom of the first inning. 1-0, Briarcliff leading. Both teams have had threats here early. Swung on and sent into left field, and that'll be caught by the left fielder. Up with it, his throw in, and it'll be cut off, and the runners will hold. One run scores. Coming in to score is Carson Belcher on the sacrifice fly by Oreskes, providing an RBI, and Belcher scores on the play, and everybody else stays put. So a line out. Caught by the left fielder. And that'll bring McMillan to the plate. So Dordt has tied the game. 1-1 our score. McMillan will settle in, .295 batting average. He has played in 34 games. Started 28 of them. 0-1 the count. 0-1 the count with two down. Pitch is low. Well, bottom half of the strike zone. Strike two, 0-2 the count. 0-2 the count with two down in the inning. And the defenders with one run across. And here's the pitch. Outside, ball one. 1-2 the count. Well, slowly on, our work crew trickling in. Racing over from class. 1-2 the count with 2 down. Runners at first and second. A base hit likely gives Dordt the lead here in the early going. Pitches down low, ball 2, 2-2. 2-2 the count. So later today, the Dordt softball team will be playing. They're scheduled to host Briar. They've got Waldorf on Saturday. Softball team looking to get 3 out of 4 here to end the year. That would help their cause and maybe get them. There's a line drive up the middle, and that's a base hit. Maybe it'll score a run. Taking the turn at third, headed for home is DJ Kerr, and the defenders have the lead. DJ Kerr with a single. And McMillan with an RBI. That run will go as unearned because Templeton should have been retired. Should have been at least 1 out on his play. You can't assume the double play, though. All those intricacies of scoring. 2 down in the inning, so Dordt with runners at first and second again. Templeton at second, McMillan at first. Any run from here on out is unearned. This one lifted in the air, right side. Out of play. Strike 1, 0-1 the count. So the defenders have the early lead, 2-1. Bottom of the first inning. 22 minutes deep into this contest. Both teams have threatened early. Both teams have had opportunities. Briar limited to 1 run in their half of the first, left the bases loaded. Dordt's delivered a couple of sacrifice fly and an RBI single. So 0-1 the count with 2 down. 0-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. Shorg checks the runner. And here's the pitch. Up high. Ball 1. 1-1 the count. So 1-1 the count. As the day progresses, we'll keep an eye on some of the other scores happening in the league. Also got track and field competing. This one hit in the air. Left center field could be trouble, and that's all the way through to the fence. That'll be extra bases. That'll score 2 runs. Taking the turn at first, jogging into second, and Schlesselman delivers a 2-run double. And the defenders doing their damage, scoring 3 runs with 2 outs. And Schlesselman with 2 RBI on the play. That'll bring Logan Harris to the plate. And the defenders making the most of this early uprising. Bottom of the first inning. Dordt leads 4-1. So the Australian Logan Harris will come to the plate. From Harrington Park, Australia. He's a junior. Dealt with an injury early in the year. And here's the pitch. Low and away. Ball 1, and that one gets away from the catcher, and Schlesselman is in third base on the wild pitch. At least I think that'll get scored a wild pitch. I get the affirmative nod from our official scorekeeper. One and 0 the count with 2 down in the inning. Demers waits in the on-deck circle. And here's the pitch. And a line drive at right field, deposited into right, and nearly gets away from the right fielder, Reimer. Harris delivers an RBI single. And the Dordt defenders giving Bennett Spronk a little bit of room to work with. So Spronk was able to get out of trouble in the first inning, and now the Briarcliff Chargers going to take an opportunity. 2 down in the inning, and they'll talk things over on the hill. My guess would be it'll be something to the effect of, let's get the batter. This is the number 9 hitter in the Dordt lineup, so things turn over from here. Twombly waits in the on-deck circle. 5 runs across for the defenders already on 4 hits. There was a Briarcliff error. And what is it? Walks and errors? Something about those? And the 4 in effect, Briarcliff having to, their pitcher, Carter Shorg, having to do the work to get 4 outs in this inning rather than 3. And Shorg, right-hander. Shorg, a familiar name for Northwest Iowa high school baseball fans. Pitches outside. Ball 2. 2-0 the count. Shorg prepped at Remsen St. Mary's High School. He was an all-stater, part of that baseball factory at the small school level for Remsen St. Mary's. Throw over to first base, not in time. Shorg, I believe, was an all-stater in basketball as well. Might have been in football too. They've got a pretty good 7 or 8-man program going there. Pitches on the outside corner, strike 1. 1-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. Shorg, one of those guys that feels like he's been there forever as well. He's a junior, listed as a junior, 6-footer. Last year, appeared in 15 games. Beg your pardon, that was in 23. Pitch is in for a called strike, 2-2 the count. 2-2 the count. So 2-2 pitch on the way with 2 down in the inning for Shorg. Deuces are wild. Dordt leading 5-1. Here's the pitch from the right-hander. Hit in the air right side. Right fielder should have it. Looks up, blinded by the sun, makes the play. And Demers is retired on the fly out to right field for out number 3, but not before the defenders put 5 on the board. 5 runs, 4 hits, 1 error. 4 of the 5 runs were unearned. We head to the top of the second inning. Dordt leading 5-1. Back with more right after this.
For top-notch rental equipment for your next project, look no further than Rental, located in Sioux Center, Spencer, Storm Lake, and Sioux Falls. Rental, your regional equipment rental experts. Visit them online, rental.com, or call 712-722-3928. Today's broadcast brought to you by Flooring and Design in Sioux Center. Whether you are building a new home, remodeling your current home, or wanting to freshen up your decor, we can help make your home as unique as you. Stop in to see us at Flooring and Design.
Premier Bank has always understood the value of family. We recognize that as your family grows, your banking needs change, and we're here to help you each step of the way. We'll create a customized plan for easier and better banking and support you in making the most of every dollar, today and always. Visit epremierbank.com or stop by any of the 5 Premier Bank locations in Iowa or South Dakota to partner with a bank who's ready to grow with you.
Five to 1 our score. We head to the top of the second inning. And Schmid is the batter. So it'll be Schmid, Padilla, and Bryant working against Bennett Spronk. Now, if you're Bennett Spronk this inning, you're up 5-1. You just want an uneventful frame here. First pitch, bunted foul by Schmid. Ball 1, strike 1. 0-1 the count. So the defenders got 5 back in the first inning. And I obviously wasn't being greedy enough early because I said something to the effect of, well, it'd be really nice to get 1 back. Well, the defenders did 4 better than that. Put 5 on the board in the top of the second inning. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 1, 1-1 the count. 1-1 the count with nobody out. And here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled off and out of play. Strike 2, 1-2 the count with nobody out. Schmid. Where's number 1? It's got a couple of home runs. This one's line drive and a diving catch by Jimmy Twombly. Jimmy Twombly with the diving catch to his right, backhanding it. So Twombly with the gem on the line out for out number 1 of the inning. And that'll bring up Raynon Padilla. So Padilla, 279 batting average. Those are the kind of plays you need. Nothing routine about that by any means, but you need those plays to get through innings without trouble. Pitch is taken for a strike, 1-1 the count. If he doesn't get that, it's at least a single. It was pretty sharply hit. Swing and a miss. Strike 2, 1-2 the count to Padilla. Padilla, 279 batting average with a home run and 16 RBI. 9 doubles. Here's the pitch with the bases empty. Ground ball, 1 hopped. Schlesselman up with it. Throws over to first base in time. Padilla retired. 4-3 for out number 2. And that'll bring up Rance Bryant. Rance Bryant, a .324 batting average. He's started all 41 games for the Chargers so far. He's the only player to do that. 4 homers, 24 RBI, and he's batting with the bases empty. His second at-bat, he struck out in his first at-bat. Takes a strike, 0-1 the count. Top of the second inning, Dordt leading 5-1. And here's the 0-1 pitch. That's in for a called strike 2. 0-2 the count. So 0-2 the count. Bennett Spronk. First 2 batters retired without incident. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Setting up on the outside half was Demers. Taken for a ball. It's 1-2 to Bryant. 1-2 the count with 2 down. And here's the pitch. Swung on ground ball. Chopped third baseman Templeton up with it. Throws over to first base, and the defenders get a 1-2-3 second inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. To the bottom of the second we go. Dordt leads 5-1. Back with more after this.
When you add up all the Wi-Fi connected devices in your home these days, you'll be surprised at how many there are and how much bandwidth they're using. Do the math. It just may add up to needing faster Wi-Fi. Premier Communications has you covered with reliable internet speeds up to 1 gig. Keep everything connected with Premier Communications. Visit us online at mypremieronline.com or call at 1-800-741-8351. Premier Communications. Looking ahead.
German Farmers Mutual, protecting the farm and home since 1891. Northwest Iowa's local insurance partner. Online at germanfarmers.com.
NewTek is your partner for success when purchasing equipment for construction, manufacturing, agriculture, and other industries. Don't miss the opportunity to transform your business and redefine your productivity standards with NewTek.
Good. 5-1 defenders lead. Due up for Dordt. It'll be Twombly, Belcher, and Kerr, so the 1-2-3 hitters. Second inning, you can extrapolate very quickly that 9 batters came to the plate for Dordt back in the first inning. First pitch taken for a strike. 0-1 the count. Twombly grounded out to third in his last at-bat. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 0-2 the count to Twombly. So Twombly facing Carter Shorg. Shorg, right-handed pitcher. He threw 30 pitches in the first inning. That one's in for a called strike 3, and Jimmy Twombly caught looking. That is strikeout number 1 today for Shorg. Brings Carson Belcher to the plate. Belcher reached after he was hit by a pitch, eventually scored. His was the only earned run. Here's the pitch, and that one's on the outside half of the plate, strike 1, nothing to 1 the count. Now if you're Briar Cliff and you're Carter Shorg, now the responsibility simply is stop the bleeding here and give your offense a chance to make up some ground. Pitches in for a called strike, 1-1 the count. Beg your pardon, 0-2 the count. Nothing in 2 the count with 1 down in the inning. And Shorg. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Shorg strikes me as the type of player, the type of pitcher that if you're going to get him, you want to get him early. Might gain momentum as the day goes along. And that'll bring DJ Kerr to the plate. He singled in his last at-bat. And here's the pitch, swung on and fouled off and out of play. Strike 1, nothing and 1 the count. So nothing and 1 the count with 2 down in the inning. And here's the pitch, swung on, hit in the air, right side. That one should drift out of play over the first base dugout where Briar Cliff resides. And the count is 0-2. Nothing in 2 the count with 2 down to DJ Kerr. Kerr singled in his last at-bat. Later scored a run. The only batter to not reach in that string of 7 was Drew Oreskes as he had the line drive sacrifice out. Ground ball, shortstop. Up with it is Padilla over to Saul for the out. And the Briar Cliff Chargers get an uneventful 1-2-3 second inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left for the defenders. We go to the top of the 3rd inning. Dordt leads Briar Cliff 5-1. Back with more after this.
Welcome to Sioux Center, Iowa. Life in the center of everything. Where we connect with friends, coworkers, family, and the great outdoors, knowing that in Sioux Center, you're never far from making the next great memory. And we grow great companies that make cutting-edge breakthroughs to make life better here and around the world. And when it's time to play, we keep friendship, family, and a bright future at the center of everything.
Today's broadcast brought to you by Huber's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning of Orange City. Whether you're looking for repairs, replacement, or maintenance for your air conditioning or heating system, Huber's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning of Orange City will exceed your expectation.
The Greenhouse, located in Hall, Iowa, bringing you amazing coffee, energy drinks, breakfast, lunch, and so much more. A big city feel, only 10 minutes away from Sioux Center, with a second location opening soon in Sanborn.
Trujillo, Marquardt, and Saul do up. 5-1 our score. Here's the pitch from Spronk as we get things started, and a bouncing ball past to diving Logan Templeton into left field as Trujillo goes the other way with it, and he doubles down the line. So Trujillo starts things off with a double. That'll bring Cade Marquardt to the plate. We're in the top of the 3rd inning. 5-1 Dordt leads, but if you watch college baseball at all, you know that 5 runs doesn't mean a whole lot. So Spronk facing Marquardt. Marquardt singled. Trujillo actually scored the run for Briar Cliff in the 1st inning. Bouncing ball back to Spronk. Spronk gets the out, and the runner does not advance. So Marquardt retired 1-3, trying to bunt his way on. Runner at second, Trujillo didn't even act like he had any thoughts of advancing, so I'm not sure if Marquardt bunted on his own there. 1 out in the inning. Runner still at second. 1 out. And batting is Saul. Saul struck out in his last at-bat. Ball 1, 1-0 the count to Saul. Saul, number 43, 346 batting average entering play today. 9 homers to his credit this season. Leads the team in that category. Strike 1, 1-1 the count. That catches the inside corner of the plate. Came in on the left-handed batter. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Spronk. Swing and a miss. Strike 2, 1-2 the count. Saul a little bit out in front of that one. Got the weight out in front, and 1-2 the count with 1 out. One and two the count with 1 down in the inning. And a swing and a miss. Strike 3. And Saul goes down swinging for out number 2 of the inning. Strikeout number 4. And that'll bring Reimer to the plate. Reimer walked in the first inning, later stranded at second base. 2 down in the inning. Here's the pitch, and taken for a ball. Throw down to third. Not in time. A little bit high. If that pitch is down around the bag, Trujillo probably retired, but instead it was up around the head of the third baseman, Templeton. He had to bring the tag down, and by then Trujillo had slid in safely. So he's 90 feet away from making this a 5-2 ball game. Reimer takes the ball. It's 2-0. Trujillo with the steal. His 8th stolen base of the year. This one launched into the air. Center field backing up is Twombly, the shortstop. Under it, calls for it, makes the play, and Reimer is retired for the 3rd out of the inning. No runs, a hit, no errors, no 1 run left on base. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Dordt still leads 5-1. Back with more after this.
This is Alex with Outdoor Elements. We've been the region's premier landscape company for over 15 years. With our own in-house landscape designer, we create extraordinary outdoor spaces where you will make memories with family and friends. We do all types of landscaping, and we're the region's only certified pool professionals. We specialize in saltwater pools, which are easy to maintain and gentle on your skin. Check out our website at OutdoorElementsInc.com. We make your landscape as beautiful as your home. When you want the best, contact us at 712-476-5299 or email us at info@OutdoorElementsInc.com.
Five to 1 our score as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Dordt in front. Templeton, Oreskes, and McMillan batting. And Shorg, he seems to be rolling a little bit right now. First pitch is a strike. Nothing in 1 the count with nobody out. Fortunately, the defender's playing with a 5-1 cushion right now. Here's the pitch. Ground ball back at Shorg. Shorg smothers it. Tosses over to first base in time, and Templeton is retired 1-3 for the 1st out of the inning. Brings Oreskes to the plate. Oreskes had an RBI back in the 1st inning. Had a line drive, sacrifice fly to left field. So Oreskes with the sacrifice fly. Well, the softball game today, Tyler Hughes, he'll be working that one. Breaking ball misses. Ball 1-0 the count. He and Josh Tatton will handle the softball doubleheader between Dordt and Briar Cliff. That'll be on the Dordt Media Network as well. Swing and a miss. Strike 1-1 the count. So 1-1 the count with one down in the inning. It's 5-1. Dordt leading. We're in the bottom of the third. Here's the pitch. Swung on in the air. Center field. Driven. Center field. And it looks like Schmid has a bead on it. Makes the play. And Oreskes is retired on the fly out to center for out number 2. And that'll bring Matt McMillan to the plate. So McMillan, right fielder, had a single and an RBI and a run scored. So 2 down in the inning. Here's the pitch. Low and away, ball 1-0 the count. We're in the bottom of the third inning. All of the runs, all the scoring so far happening in the first. Well, when you think about spring baseball, this is the kind of day you hope for. Every once in a while you get it. 1-1 the count with 2 down. Here's the pitch. Swung on, driven in the air, center field. He didn't quite get all of it, though. Under it is Schmid. Schmid makes the play. And McMillan is retired on the fly out to center field for out number 3. The defenders are retired in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. We go to the top of the fourth inning. Our score still, Dordt 5, Briar Cliff 1. Back with more after this.
Today's broadcast brought to you by Snyder Insurance and Financial Group of Sioux Center, offering life, health, Medicare supplements, annuities, and more. Trusted service and exceptional products with you in mind since 1973. Looking for top-notch rental equipment for your next project? Look no further than Rental, located in Sioux Center, Spencer, Storm Lake, and Sioux Falls. Rental, your regional equipment rental experts. Visit them online, rental.com, or call 712-722-3928. NewTek is your partner for success when purchasing equipment for construction, manufacturing, agriculture, and other industries. Don't miss the opportunity to transform your business and redefine your productivity standards with NewTek. This broadcast brought to you by the Ullman Funeral Homes. Chad Ullman, Lori Ewell, and Taylor Van Witchell, providing professional attention to every detail. Today's broadcast brought to you by M&H True Value of Rock Valley. Behind every project is True Value. Start right. Start here.
Five to 1 our score. Connor Newback to the plate to face Bennett Spronk. The line for Briar Cliff through 3 innings. 1-2-1, 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error. Dordt 5-4-0. Swing and a miss. Strike 2, nothing into the count. So Spronk, talking about Shore getting rolling, but Spronk as well has surrendered just 2 hits thus far. Here's the pitch up high. Ball 1, 1-2 the count. Well, after that first inning jam, Spronk, uneventful second and third innings. Briar Cliff actually swing and a miss. Strike 3, strikeout number 5 for Bennett Spronk. Out number 1 of the inning. Brings up Diversey. Diversey comes to the plate. So Diversey, I'm taking a closer look at that spelling and look at the roster rather than my scribbles. Here's the pitch. In there for a called strike. Devecssery. Diversey. Going to settle on a pronunciation at some point. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and a line drive, left field corner, foul ball, strike 2, nothing into the count. DeVessery in his last at-bat struck out. He was the third strikeout victim of the first inning, interspersed with a couple of bases on balls, a hit batter, and a single. Here's the 0-2 pitch on the way with the bases empty and 1 out. Swung on, bounced in front of the plate, picked up by Demers in foul territory. Count remains 0-2. Nothing into the count. Scores around the league today, Wednesday, April 23. Baseball. A little bit of a surprise here. Bottom of the third inning. Mount Marty leads Morningside 6-1. Softball, Northwestern leads Waldorf 6-1. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And DeVessery, strikeout number 6, out number 2. And that'll bring Damon Schmid to the plate. So Schmid will step in. Left-handed batter. He lined out to the shortstop. That was that diving grab by Jimmy Twombly. And here's the pitch. Swung on and grounded sharply between first and second into right field. Scooped up by McMillan, but Schmid is on with a 2-out single. And that'll bring Padilla to the plate. So Padilla will come to the plate. And at some point, Briar Cliff's going to get the offense going. So Schmid over at first base. Pitch is down in the dirt. Ball 1, 1-0 the count. Schmid over at first, venturing off of the bag. He's got 4 stolen bases this year. Gets his lead. Here's the pitch. Just misses. Ball 2, 2-0 the count. I was waiting for the home plate umpire to give us the right arm for the strike. Well, did he? No, 2-0 the count. So 2-1 the count. Up high. Ball 3, 3-0. So 3-0 the count with 2 down in the inning. And here's the pitch. In there for a called strike 1, 3-1 the count. So 3-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. 5-1 our score. Dordt leading. We're in the top of the 4th, playing 7 here in game number 1, playing 7 in game number 2 as well. The in-week games rules in effect. Padilla works for a base on balls, so runners at first and second. And this is where things can look innocent enough when they begin, and then you look back and you think, oh, that's when it happened. So hopefully the defenders can get an out. And Jared Jones going to come out of the dugout, talk things over. Rance Bryant coming to the plate for the 3rd time. Bryant struck out and a ground out. He's 0 for 2. Bryant from Danville, Iowa, by way of Kellogg Community College. So 2 down in the inning. Two down in the frame. Dordt trying to get out of the jam, if you will. Need an out. Sitting on a 5-1 lead. We're in the top of the 4th. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 1. 1-0 the count. So 1-0 the count with 2 down in the inning. And here's the pitch. Outside corner. Strike 1. 1-1 the count. So 1-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. Little bit of a breeze, it appears, coming in from center field. Pitch is outside. Ball 2. 2-1 the count. Briarcliff, the uprising with a single and a double back-to-back with 2 down. Here's the 2-1 pitch on the way from Spronk. Here's the pitch. Outside ball 3. 3-1. Spronk at 60 pitches before this batter. So 64, the 65th coming. So 3-1 pitch on the way. Need an out here. Get out of the inning. Here's the pitch. In there for a called strike. 3-2 the count. So 3-2 the count. With 2 down. And the runners will be moving. Here's the pitch. Swung on, ground ball. Shortstop. His play is to first. Twombly over to first in time. And the defenders get out of the jam. No runs, a hit, no errors, 2 left. To the bottom of the 4th we go. Dordt leading 5-1. Back with the bottom of the 4th inning right after this.
Broadcast brought to you by the Van Engelen Agency, your trusted independent insurance agency in Northwest Iowa. Contact the Van Engelen Agency, Sioux Center Advisors, Mark Hulsoff, Lisa Dykstra, or Kyle Blankers. Today's broadcast brought to you by Cruz & Cruz, PC, certified public accountants, offices in Sioux Center and Lars. Helping you attain your financial goals is their commitment. Today's broadcast brought to you by Joyner and Dordt Dentistry, providing implants, dentures, and dental care for your whole family in a modern and friendly atmosphere. Today's broadcast brought to you by 712 Nutrition. Transform your health and wellness with 712 Nutrition. Stop in today for healthy, delicious protein shakes bundled with a supportive community. Start feeling your best today.
Schlesselman, Harris, and Demers. Defenders trying to get something rolling. They have been quiet since the first inning when they scored 5. They haven't had a base runner since the first inning. This one skied left side, running out of room. Third baseman Trujillo over near the dugout, and that one drifts out of play. 0-1 the count with nobody out. 0-1 the count with nobody out. Schlesselman, double. Knocked in a couple of the runs in his last at-bat. So 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch, and laying down a bunt. Misses. Strike 2. 0-2 the count. Schlesselman, 218 batting average. That was his 4th double of the season. 20th and 21st RBI. 0-2 the count. Here's the pitch. Up high. Ball 1. 1-2 the count. Logan Harris waits in the on-deck circle. Well, the Great Plains Athletic Conference, Concordia is the regular season champion. They wrapped things up last week, and it would appear that they may be as good as advertised based on what we saw last week. They will earn a spot in the postseason NAI National Championship with that regular season champion. 21-3. They're 6 games in front of their nearest competitors. Doane and Morningside are both 15-9. Briarcliff, they've got something to play for here this weekend. They're 14-10. Swung on and lashed foul, and the count remains 1-2. They could work their way into a tie. I mean, there's 4 games remaining. They're just a game out of second place. Midland sits at 5th along with Northwestern at 13-11. This one fouled off behind us. Mount Marty 12-12, Dakota Wesleyan 11-13. Then your separation. Waldorf, Dordt, and Hastings with 7, 6, and 5 wins respectively. Dakota Wesleyan, I don't know all the tiebreaker scenarios. Pitches outside, ball 2, 2-2. But Waldorf could catch Dakota Wesleyan conceivably. 2-2 the count. Here's the pitch from Schorg with nobody out. Swung on and fouled back to the screen by Schlesselman. Waldorf would have to win all 4 of their games. Dakota Wesleyan would have to drop all 4 of theirs. Dakota Wesleyan started the conference league as hot as anyone. The conference schedule as hot as anyone. Have cooled off a bit since. Ground ball, shortstop, Padilla. Over to first in time. Schlesselman retired 6-3 for the first out of the inning. Brings up Logan Harris, who singled in his last at bat. Well, now I've piqued my own interest. Who does Waldorf have remaining? I know they got Dordt coming up on Friday. Who do they have before that? Well, they've got Briar Cliff on Saturday the 26th. Dakota Wesleyan, here's the pitch to Harris. Harris fouls it off. Strike 1, 0-1 the count. And this is where you can tie yourself up in knots. Dakota Wesleyan, they are hosting Concordia for 4 this weekend, Friday and Saturday. So not out of the realm of possibilities that they lose all 4, but Waldorf would have to sweep Dordt and Briarcliff on back-to-back days just to work into a tie. Then the tiebreakers come in. That one's strike 2, 0-2 the count. Swung on, ground ball up the middle. Backhanded by Bryant. Throws over to first and drags the first baseman off of the base. And that'll be an error, I think. Throwing error charged to the second baseman. So Bryant had time. Threw it high over to Saul, though. Saul had to go airborne for it. And Harris, with good speed, able to beat it out to first base. Second error charged to the Briarcliff Chargers today. Would have been the second out of the inning. Now Demers comes to the plate. This one fouled off and out of play. Strike 1, 0-1 the count. And not to belabor the point, but this could very easily be a 1-1 game right now. 0-1 the count with 1 out. Throw over to first base. Harris dives back in safely. Harris, he got slowed up with that injury this year. I don't think there's any question that it affected his play. Had a stolen base, 223 batting average, bunted, third base side. Up the line is Demers, and he is retired, but gets Harris over to second base in the process. So the sacrifice bunt for the second out of the inning. That'll bring Twombly to the plate. Mixture of sun and clouds here today in Sioux Center. And Twombly comes up with a runner in scoring position. And everything from here on out is unearned as well. Bottom of the 4th inning. So 2 down in the inning. Here's the pitch to Twombly. Swung on, weakly hit. Shortstop. He's got to hustle. Throw over to first base. In time by half a step. And the side is retired. So the defenders threaten. Get a runner in scoring position, and that's it. No runs. No hits. 1 error. 1 left. To the top of the 5th inning we go. Dordt 5. Briarcliff 1. Back with more after this.
Nation, my name is Darren Kaiser, and I'm excited to serve as the new athletic director at Dordt University. Thank you for tuning into the Dordt Media Network and supporting Defender Athletics. As an athletic department, we are committed to the Defender way. This means we are committed to the Great Commission, developing servant leaders, the academic development of our student athletes, and the pursuit of championships. I'm eager to join with you in supporting our athletes this year. Thank you for watching Defender Athletics on the Dordt Media Network. Go Defenders!
Hey Defender Nation, did you know that Dordt Athletics has over 700 student athletes that make up less than 50% of the student body? We want to invite you to join the Defender Gold Club and support those student athletes, our staff, and coaches this season. Your charitable donation helps advance Defender Athletics and the Defender Way. Last year, we were just shy of 900 members in the Defender Gold Club. Help us reach that 1,000 member mark this year. By becoming a member, you will directly support the student athletes and coaches here at Dordt University. Thanks for watching. Go Defenders.
Five to 1 our score, and the Defenders send Bennett Sprunk out for his fifth inning of work. Diego Trujillo takes a pitch up high. Ball 1-0 the count. Here's the pitch, swung on and fouled back to the netting. Strike one, 1-1. 380 to center field, 310 down the lines here in Sioux Center at Open Space Park. The outfield ringed by those evergreens. Pitch is a ball, 2-1 the count. Keeps that north breeze out during the early spring. Here's the 2-1 pitch, swung on. That one's over to the shortstop. Twombly, tough play, and Twombly unable to make it. And Trujillo reaches on the error, charged to the shortstop. So a base runner is on for the Briarcliff Chargers. And that'll bring up Cade Marquardt. Marquardt singled, grounded out in the second inning, singled back in the first. First pitch is in for a called strike, 0-1 the count. Both teams now have committed an error. Briarcliff has 2. Dordt has 1. Remains to be seen if this one hurts or not. Cade Marquardt awaits the delivery from Sprunk. It's in for a called strike. 0-2 the count with nobody out. Right-handed batter Marquardt. Marquardt a .355 batting average. 0-2 the count with nobody out. Throw over to first base, not in time. So Sprunk just letting Trujillo know that they're not forgetting about him over there. Trujillo with 7 stolen bases, second on the team in that category. Bryant has 8 to lead them. So Briarcliff not a team that has built its offense on speed. 37 stolen bases this year. Dordt, by comparison, 54. And the 1-2 pitch on the way from Sprunk. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Marquardt swinging from the heels that time. Strikeout number 7. Out number 1. And that'll bring Nico Saul to the plate. So Saul, left-handed batter, struck out twice. Dangerous hitter, though. 9 homers, 44 RBI. That one's off of the, right back to the pitcher for 1. On to second, got him, and on to first in time. And the Defenders record the twin killing to get out of the frame. Saul grounds into the double play. No runs. No hits, 1 error, nobody left. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Our score, Dordt 5, Briarcliff 1. Back with more after this.
At Dordt, we strive to build community, from before you step foot on campus to years after you graduate. We want to give Dordt students the chance to live and learn together and create meaningful, lifelong relationships that are rooted in faith. Connect to others in purposeful relationships at Dordt University.
In the Dome, we have a space available for 2 full-size softball fields. However, this space is also utilized by the football, baseball, and soccer teams, as well as for other various athletic events. Another great thing about the American State Bank Sports Complex is that it's not just for Dordt athletes. It's for the entire community, whether that's high school soccer leagues, open turf time, or even a space for intramurals. Hope you stop by soon.
Carson Belcher, DJ Kerr, Logan Templeton due up. So Shorg, home plate umpire, having a conversation with Shorg on the hill. So 5-1, Dordt leading, and Shorg from the wind, and this one's grounded through the hole between short and third, and Carson Belcher reaches with a single, and that'll bring DJ Kerr to the plate. So Kerr will come to the plate. With nobody out, we're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Logan Templeton waits in the on-deck circle. Well, anything here would be for insurance for the defenders. And DJ Kern, his last at bat, grounded out to the shortstop for the 3rd out of the 2nd inning. Dordt's opportunities have been limited since the 1st. Kerr takes a strike, 0-1 the count. On the Dordt calendar for this weekend, we've alluded to the baseball and softball. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2, 0-2 the count to Kerr. Track and field is at Yankton, running in a Mount Marty invite today. And I believe a smattering of athletes will take off for Drake tomorrow. And then it is, they've got the Simpson invite as well. Going to have some runners there. 1-2 the count with nobody out. And the Drake relays, that'll run through Saturday. Thursday looks like potential rain here. But I'm hopeful for better weather on Friday and Saturday. No. But Friday and Saturday we hope for better weather. Thursday, well, you can't have the Drake relays without some rain. 2-2 the count with nobody out. Here's the pitch. Swung on, fouled off, and out of play. The count remains 2-2. Women's golf team is off until Monday and Tuesday when they play at Cairo, Nebraska for the GPAC Championships. 2-2 pitch on the way with nobody out. Throw over to first base, not in time. So DJ Kerr trying to keep the inning moving. Swing and a miss. Strike 3, and Kerr is retired for the third out of the inning. The first out of the inning. I have that as strikeout number 3. Brought number 1. And we've got a runner for Belcher. This will be Braden Bigger. So a pinch runner. So Beggar will run here in the 5th. So Logan Templeton batting with a runner on first base. Beggar over there. Let's see if he's moving. And he is. First pitch, throw over to second, and he's dead to rights. That was a strike from the catcher, Marquardt. Marquardt gets Beggar, caught stealing. 2-4 for the second out of the inning. Beggar had a good jump. That was just a bullet from Marquardt. Marquardt, he's from Litchfield, Minnesota. Checking what the background is on him. He's a transfer from Minnesota State Mankato. So the Mavericks unable to find a spot for him, so he finds a home at Briar Cliff, and he looked like a D2 arm there. Templeton, the ground out to the right side for out number 3, and the side is retired. No runs, a hit, no errors, nobody left on base. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Dordt leading 5-1. Back with more right after this.
At Dordt, we strive to build community from before you step foot on campus to years after you graduate. We want to give Dordt students the chance to live and learn together and create meaningful, lifelong relationships that are rooted in faith. Connect to others in purposeful relationships at Dordt University.
In the Dome, we have a space available for 2 full-size softball fields. However, this space is also utilized by the football, baseball, and soccer teams, as well as for other various athletic events. Another great thing about the American State Bank Sports Complex is that it's not just for Dordt athletes. It's for the entire community, whether that's high school soccer leagues, open turf time, or even a space for intramurals. Hope you stop by soon.
Cam Reimer, Connor Newbeck, Grant DeVessery due up. First pitch, a strike, 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch from Spronk. Ground ball, left side, backhanded by Twombly. Long throw over to first base, not in time. And Reimer's on with an infield single. Twombly, that ball hit, backhanded it. Well on his way to the foul line and on the grass. So a leadoff single for Reimer brings Newbeck to the plate. Dordt leading 5-1. We're in the top of the 6th. Briar Cliff down to the final 6 outs. Here's the pitch. Swung on. Lifted in the air. Left side. Not a play. Strike 1. 0-1 the count. For the defenders, Bennett Spronk, the senior from Pella High, Iowa. Pella Christian High School prep. Getting his last start of the season. Can't rule anything out with the weather. Maybe you get something pushed back to next Monday, but looks highly unlikely at this point. Pitches a ball. It's 1-1. 1-1 the count. Right now, Dort's scheduled to finish up the regular season 2 days from now against Waldorf. This one's skied in the air left side. Belcher looks like he's got it. He's under it, reaches up, makes the play. And Newbeck is retired on the flyout to left for the first out of the inning. Brings DeVessery to the plate. DeVessery has struck out twice. And we've got a pinch hitter, it appears. Number 14. Cy Patterson will come to the plate. So now my question is, who's in left? Is Bigger in left or is... Okay, so Bigger actually credited with that out. I made the mistake of assuming there'd be a re-entry. First pitch is a ball. 1-0 the count. Gabe McFarland is in right field now for McMillan. The defenders have done these defensive switches late in games fairly regularly here, especially in the second half of the season. So Gabe, who's been used predominantly as a pinch runner or courtesy runner, swung on. This one fouled off and out of play. Strike one, 2-1 the count. Get a little more speed in the outfield with Bigger and McFarland at the corners. Logan Harris still stationed in center field. 2-1 pitch on the way with one out. Patterson takes inside. Ball 3-1 the count. Wind seems to be picking up just a bit. 3-1 pitch on the way with one down. And throw over to first base. Not in time. Reimer is over at first base. Reimer, 2 stolen bases this year. Here's the pitch. Swung on and Demers shaken up on the play. Pitch is a strike. 3-2 the count, so full count. Demers waves off. Just needs a moment to catch his breath. So 3-2 the count. Let's see if the defenders can get out of the inning. Last time they were in this situation, they got a double play ball. 1-4-3 to close the 5th inning. Cy Patterson steps in. Payoff pitch on the way. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Bennett Sprunk comes back with a strikeout, his 8th of the game. Out number 2 of the inning. And that'll bring Damon Schmid to the plate. So Schmid singled back in the 4th inning. Sprunk had a challenging first frame, but since then, he's pitched a nice game. Pitches inside, ball 1, 1-0 the count. Two outs in the inning. Here's the pitch from Sprunk. That one's up high. Ball 2, 2-0 the count. So 2-0 the count with 2 down in the inning. Padilla waits in the on-deck circle. And here's the pitch from Sprunk. That's in for a called strike. 2-1. Schmid singled in his last at-bat. Lined out in the 2nd inning. So here's the 2-1 pitch. A line drive at right field. Gabe McFarland up with it off of a couple of hops. Gets it back into the infield. Snap throw over to first base. Not in time. Thought maybe they would catch Schmid leaning the wrong way. Reimer at second base. Schmid with a single. And that brings Raynon Padilla to the plate. Raynon Padilla. An opportunity here to help Briar Cliff's cause. It's been nothing but zeros on the board since they scored 1 in the 1st. 2 down in the inning. Dordt trying to get out of the frame. Here's the pitch from Sprunk. Misses up high. Ball 1. 1-0 the count. Well, a few people in the stands for today's home finale. 1-0 the count with 2 down. Pitch misses outside, ball 2-0. The count with 2 down. Padilla takes outside ball 3, and now Spronk in danger of loading the bases. Padilla in his last at-bat walked. He's 0 for 1 officially. Had a ground out back in the second inning. Let's work the count to 3-0. And here's the pitch. Up high and tight, ball 4, and the walk is issued. So base on balls given up. Bases are now loaded, and the top of the order is due up. Rance Bryant awaits his turn at the plate. Ian Eshelman out of the dugout. And it looks like Spronk will be lifted. So Spronk leaves with the bases loaded. 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning. Dordt leading 5-1. And that'll bring Lincoln Vandermolen in. He inherits the bases loaded situation. While he warms up, let's take a break. You're watching the Dordt Media Network and Dordt Baseball. Back with more after this. Five to 1 our score, and Lincoln Vandermolen comes on. He'll try to shut the door here. Inherits a bit of a jam. So and the first pitch is in for a called strike. And we have a pinch hitter as well. This is Justin Reamer, number 20. Swung on, hit in the air right side, maybe get out of the jam. Drifting out, second baseman under it, makes the play, and Schlesselman squeezes it for out number 3. And the batter is retired. That was Justin Reamer. Justin Reamer pinch hitting for the leadoff batter in the Briar Cliff lineup with the bases loaded. And the side is retired. I have questions. No runs. 2 hits. No errors. 3 left. To the bottom of the 6th we go. Dordt still leading 5-1. Back with more after this.
Biblical truth shapes Dordt's worldview, giving students the wisdom to serve God and neighbor through their work and in their daily lives. all that God has created you to do at Dordt University.
Today's Dordt Media Network livestream broadcast is produced by the students of Dordt University. Thanks for watching.
Well, we do have a change on defense for Briar Cliff. Raymar is the new second baseman. He hit for Bryant, and he'll stay in the ballgame at second. And the left fielder is still DeVessery, so he re-enters. Dordt leads 5-1. And due up will be Drew Araskas here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Dordt leading 5-1. So 5-1 our score. Carter Shorg, that is. And Araskas jumps on the first pitch, lifts it high in the air, left side, in foul territory. Third baseman Trujillo reaches up, makes the grab. For the first out of the inning on the foul out. For out number one, that'll bring Gabe McFarland to the plate. So McFarland, who entered as a defensive replacement in the top half of the inning, comes to the plate, takes a strike, 0-1 the count. The line for the defenders so far, 1 run, 5 hits, 2 errors. Dordt 5-5-1, 5 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error. Here's the pitch. Down low. Ball 1-1 the count. 1-1 the count with 1 down in the inning. And here's the pitch. Outside, ball 2. I thought maybe that one caught the outside edge of the plate. So 2-1 the count with 1 out. And here's the pitch. Outside, corner, strike 2. 2-2 the count. Dordt leading 5-1. In the bottom half of the sixth inning, Briar Cliff with their final at bat in regulation coming up. McFarland has worked the count to full 3-2. Due up for Briar Cliff, it'll be the heart of their order, so Lincoln Vandermolen, if he remains in, will have to earn it. Here's the pitch. And McFarland caught looking. Strikeout number 4 for Shorg. Out number 2. And that'll bring Joey Schlesselman to the plate. So Schlesselman, 1 for 2 so far today. Dordt sent 9 to the plate in the first inning. This one lifted in the air right side. Right fielder Reimer under it, and he makes the grab for the final out of the sixth inning. In the ensuing 5 innings of play, the defenders have sent 15 to the plate. Had a runner caught stealing. Otherwise, Shorg has gone unscathed since that first inning. We go to the top of the seventh inning. Dordt 5, Briar Cliff 1. Last chance for the Chargers when we pick up play right after this.
And we talk a lot about this idea of teaching Christianly. How does my faith impact every decision I make in my teaching practice? The more opportunities we have to work with students to kind of foster that kind of a little bit bigger picture of how faith and learning are already integral. It's already there. So how do we uncover that? How do we help students start to see more and more like this is how things are? I'm a person of faith. My faith is a critical component to who I am. Then it's going to have to play out in my teaching practice in some way.
Diego Trujillo to start things off for the Chargers. Briarcliff trailing 5-1. We're in the top of the 7th inning, and here's the pitch from Vandermolen, an outside corner, strike one, 0-1 the count. Trujillo reached on an error back in the 5th inning, had a double and a base on balls, so he's reached all 3 times. 1 for 2 officially. Pitches outside. Ball 1-1 the count. Schmidt has a couple of hits for Briarcliff. For Dordt, they've scattered their 5 hits between 5 different players. Here's the pitch. Swung on and lashed foul. Strike 2, 1-2 the count. This game started straight up at 1 o'clock. We're in the top of the 7th. Boy, after that first inning, there has not been much in the way of offense, though. Here's the pitch. Swung on and a ground ball sharply hit. 1 hop. Schlesselman gloves it. Throws over to first base in time. Trujillo is retired 4-3 for the first out of the inning. Brings Marquardt to the plate. And Nico Saul waits in the on-deck circle. So the Defenders bidding for their 7th win of the conference season, their 18th overall. First pitch is in for a called strike, 0-1 the count. Lincoln Vandermolen pitching for the Defenders. Vandermolen entered and got out of a jam in the 6th inning. This is his 15th appearance. Swung on, fouled off and out of play, strike 2, 0-2 the count. 18 innings pitched up to this point. 12 strikeouts, so not a high strikeout pitcher. He's in line for a save here. 0-2 the count with 1 out. Vandermolen 0-1. So only 1 decision. He started 1 game. My guess would be that was maybe on the Florida trip. 0-2 pitch on the way. Swung on, line drive, right side, foul. Slices into the Briarcliff bullpen. Nobody is up throwing for the Chargers, so if the Chargers get it to the 7th inning, bottom of the frame, Shorg would likely work, and why wouldn't he? He's been rolling since the first inning. But that first inning, Dordt was able to get 5 across, 4 of them unearned, and that's been the difference. 5-1, Dordt leading. Heart of the order due up, though, for the Chargers, and Lincoln Vandermolen thought he had done enough to get the strikeout. Pitch is called the ball. It's 2-2. 2-2 the count with 1 out. See what Vandermolen does here. Marquardt waits, and here's the pitch. Swung on and grounded foul. And the count remains 2-2. Vandermolen Where's number 21? He is a freshman from Pella, Iowa. And here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, hit in the air right side. That one's going to drift out of play and foul. Strike 2. The count remains 2-2. 2-2 the count. The defenders right now in the driver's seat. Briarcliff trying to dislodge them. 2-2 pitch on the way. Breaking ball, chopped, shortstop, charging. Twombly on the run, throws and makes the play for out number 2 of the inning. So the defenders an out away from finishing this one off. The defenders leading 5-1. And here's the pitch. Swung on in a line drive into left center field, and that could be extra bases for Saul. Saul reaches for the first time today with 2 down in the inning. He doubles, and that'll bring Cam Reimer to the plate. He singled in his last at bat. So Reimer will bat. Reimer, base on balls, a fly out, and a single. Saul takes his spot at second base with the double. That's the 6th hit for the Chargers today. And for Saul, his first hit of the day. This one lifted high in the air right side. McFarland looks like he's got it. He comes on, makes the play. And the final out is recorded on the fly out to right field for out number 3. In the top of the 7th inning, Briarcliff, no runs, a hit, no errors, 1 left. Our final, Dordt 5, Briarcliff 1. Back with a final word and the Wireless World postgame show right after this. Ground ball right side, fighting it off is Christensen, and then that's going to tie the game. Welcome back to the Wireless World postgame show where the Dordt Defenders defeat Briar Cliff 5-1 the final. The Dordt Defenders get 5 in the bottom half of the first inning, 4 of them unearned, and those stand up the rest of the way. And a good pitching performance by Bennett Spronk and Lincoln Vandermolen as they combine for the 1-run, 6-hit pitching performance on the way to the win. Offensively for Dordt, Joey Schlesselman, a 2 RBI day as he went 1 for 3 with runs scored as well. And for Schlesselman, those 2 RBI came on a double in the first inning. It is time to name our State Farm Ross Hoekstra Player of the Game. Call Ross 712-722-0806 for all your insurance needs. Stop by the Sioux Center office next to Dairy Queen. State Farm Player of the Game today. No surprise, Bennett Spronk. Bennett Spronk improves to 2-5 with a 5 2/3 inning outing. He gives up 1 run on 5 hits, walked 4 and struck out 8, hit a batter, and was able to work his way out of trouble in the first inning when limited Briar Cliff's damage to just 1 run. His offense came back in the bottom half of the inning, gave him 5 runs to work with, and he was in control from there on out. For Briar Cliff, so there again is your Player of the Game brought to you by Ross Hoekstra and State Farm. For Briar Cliff, their top performance, Schmid went 2 for 3 today with a couple of base hits. And Carter Shorg, the tough luck outing on the mound, he was pretty good. Went 6 innings, gave up 5 runs on 5 hits. 1 of them earned in the first inning. Struck out 4 and faced the minimum number of batters over the final 5 innings. But by then the die was cast, and 5-1 was the final. Dordt with their 7th win of the conference season. We're going to back it out. We're going to close things down for game number 1, and we'll be back with game number 2 in about 25 minutes or so. Good afternoon.